Welcome to Waters World. I'm Jesse Waters. Protecting the Republic, that's the subject of tonight's Waters Words. When you have an election that half the country thinks was crooked, shouldn't you investigate it to make sure it wasn't? The Democrats investigated the last election for 3 years and found nothing. But Republicans can't investigate this election for 3 weeks. President Trump's legal team laid out what they found in just a short period of time.
Jesse Jacob is an adult citizen and a resident of the state of Michigan. She's been an employee of the city of Detroit for decades. She was assigned to voting duties in September, and she was trained by the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan. She was basically trained to cheat. She said that I was instructed by my supervisor to adjust the mailing date of these absentee ballot packages to be dated earlier than when they were actually sent in. The supervisor made that announcement for all workers to engage in that fraudulent practice. That's not me saying that. That's this American citizen saying that under oath.
This is a Detroit poll worker swearing under penalty of perjury that she was trained to cheat by Democrat election officials to backdate ballots that came in after Election Day. Now, Rudy says the woman will also testify that she was instructed not to verify signatures, not to invalidate bad ballots, and not to check voter ID. She says all the poll workers around her were instructed to do this. Rudy laid out more direct testimonial evidence from Michigan citizens.
What they swear to is that at 4:30 in the morning, a truck pulled up to the Detroit center where they were counting ballots. The people thought it was food, so they all ran to the truck. It wasn't food. It was thousands and thousands of ballots. And the ballots were in garbage cans, they were in paper bags, they were in cardboard boxes, and they were taken into the center. They were put on a number of tables. At that time, they thought all the Republican inspectors had left, all but two had, and an employee of Dominion. And here's what they jointly swear to: that every ballot that they could see, everything they could hear, these were ballots for Biden. When they saw a ballot, these were ballots only for Biden, meaning there was no down ticket, just Biden. Many of them didn't have anything on the outer envelope because these ballots were produced very quickly, very swiftly, and they're estimated to be a minimum of 60,000, maximum of 100,000. Many of them were triple counted, which means they were put into the counting machine this way: once, twice, 3 times.
Makes you sick to your stomach to think that this could have happened. But it gets worse. The president's legal team has hundreds and hundreds of sworn eyewitness statements testifying to major voter fraud in Atlanta, Philly, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Milwaukee, Las Vegas, and Phoenix. These are deep blue cities run by Democrat machine bosses and election boards. In key swing states, Biden leads. Overvoting, double voting, out-of-state voting, vote changing, voter intimidation, backdating. Poll inspectors swear they weren't permitted to inspect hundreds of thousands of mail ballots being opened and processed in Pennsylvania. Dozens of inspectors swear they were denied real access in major Democrat precincts across the country in early morning of November 4th and beyond, while Biden chewed away at Trump's lead. In Pittsburgh, 15,000 people showed up on Election Day to vote and were told they had already voted by mail, when they hadn't. So who cast ballots in their names? Wisconsin sent out tens of thousands of unsolicited ballots. It's against state law. Democrats violated the Equal Protection Clause by allowing people to cure their bad ballots in cities, but not in Trump counties. And all of these arguments and testimonials were laid out methodically by Rudy. Another lawyer, Sidney Powell, claims she has whistleblower testimony and significant circumstantial evidence proving that software in the vote machines rigged vote counts for Joe. Now, if this is true, it's the biggest scandal in American political history. It's an extremely technical and controversial allegation. So Water's World producers have been looking into it, and we're going to show you exactly what we found coming up later in the show. So the Trump case is this: don't certify fraudulent results. Let the lawyers present their case in court and let the judges rule. And if it goes through a legal process, a constitutional process, nobody should have an issue with that. It's an uphill battle for sure, but it's a battle worth fighting. It was a unique election with tens of millions of mail ballots for the very first time, and all the country's powerful interests aligned against the president. Trump was ahead, then a stoppage, and then the outcome delayed while Biden clawed ahead under controversial circumstances. Now, perhaps that can be explained, but we're seeing early signs that there are other explanations, and those should be pursued all the way. Democrats rioted and launched a coup after the last election. Spare us the outrage when a lawyer files a lawsuit. Let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? Remember when Hillary said Trump stole the election and was an illegitimate president? Remember when Democrats pressured electors to stop Trump's certification? Remember when dozens of Democrats boycotted Trump's inauguration? Remember the Obama administration illegally leaked classified information and unleashed FBI agents on Trump's transition? All of that was over a lie planted by Hillary just to distract from her email scandal. And so far, there's more evidence of election corruption than there ever was of election collusion. Remember when the mainstream media cared about election integrity? Here's an investigative report from NBC News demonstrating how Dominion voting machines are easily hacked. Look at the title of the package right there: The Ease of Hacking Voting Machines, from NBC News. And speaking of Dominion, last year, Senators Liz Warren and Amy Klobuchar, they wrote a letter to the parent company of Dominion raising serious concerns about instances of illegal vote flipping in their machines. And who could forget Biden just last month bragging about how he had the best voter fraud op ever?
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Oops. Perhaps that was just a slip of the tongue. Or maybe he said the silent part out loud. I don't know. Either way, the truth is worth pursuing. Voters are owed fair elections here in America. Millions of Americans died for our right to vote. They died defending democracy and died protecting the republic. The country's shot if we can't trust the process on Election Day. It's our duty to have an accurate tally. Don't trust anybody who doesn't want to ensure that. So keep the faith. We're up against the clock, no doubt. Whatever happens, happens. And that was meant to be. And always remember this: we can be gracious in victory and humble in defeat. That is, unless they cheat.